for coming. So we'll quickly move to the next platform now for discussion. And our moderator will be Dr. Wokolo. Welcome, Ma. Welcome, Ma. She's here.
Good afternoon, everybody. I know it's been a long day and we're responding as if we're all hungry. So this is what I'm going to do. Can I have everybody just stand up for like a minute and shake your leg, do something, wiggle, whatever it is, because we've all been sitting for a pretty long time. So just wiggle, do whatever, bend, touch, we're not static. Okay, and while we're doing that, I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. And when you hear my daughter's name, it's going to be either Ngolia or N2. You can sit down. Okay, so my name is Dr. Eziafaka Kunwokolo. Some people call me Dr. Zifi. I am a mother of 3 beautiful daughters. The middle one is the one that's on the spectrum, and her name is Ngolia, and she sometimes called N2. Because all the names start with N. I can see some people didn't hear me. So I said, when you hear my daughter's name or you hear N2, you can sit down. So, this panel, I would really love for you to pay rapt attention, and I'll sit down in a moment. Because we're going to have individuals who are actually autistic. Some like to be addressed as autistic. I personally refer to my daughter as someone with autism. And the reason I say that is because it's just something that she has. It doesn't define who she is. Okay? And I think that's really what is responsible for a lot of the semantics and the going back and forth. Am I living with disability? Am I disabled? Am I that? But just drop the semantics and pay rapt attention to my participants. So with that said, the first person I'm going to call up is Oluwabusola Akinshola. Oluwabusola, as she comes up, she's overcoming cerebral palsy. She's had a tough and amazing life journey, and she's also diagnosed, like I said, with autism. She has a master's degree. She's a banker. She's done so much. So, Busola, good to have you. And when I was speaking to them, so there's something we do as behavior analysts. That's what I am. We like to give people, we like to prime them. So I had to, especially for individuals or the population that have autism. I believe in what we call antecedent intervention. So one of it is to prime them, to prepare them for ahead of what's going to happen. Okay, there's nothing wrong with having a schedule. And so if anybody is going to ask her a question, she would rather be called Oluwabusola. And the next person I have up is Favor Onishi Jidonwu. She was a former face and ambassador for people with Down syndrome in Nigeria. Where is Favor? Favor, where are you? Can somebody find Favor? She's not there? Okay, so let's move on very quickly. Oluwakorede Adebisi, he is a new media professional with specialty in direct marketing. Where's Oluwakorede? Okay, direct marketing, sales, and adverts. He self-advocates. He's been doing that since 2018, and he took further steps 2022-23 after a late diagnosis of ADHD. And, he's just been fantastic. And Patricia is here. Okay. So we have Patricia Ajagunle. Where's Patricia? She is a certified HR personnel, and she works with people and organizations to build strong, diverse, and inclusive workforces. She's got years of deep experience in full cycle talent management and people analytics. She has worked with executives across various industries, teaching people to honor their competencies and those of others. Patricia set up the Autism Care Network, which is a non-profit dedicated to fostering connections and supporting autistic individuals to maximize their potential. And she's also committed to reshaping societal narratives around autism. And she has a dedicated team that helps with all of this. And we've got Remy, who is, I think, either running late, and so we'll introduce Remy when he gets here. Okay, glad to have you all. Like I said, these are my special people. You all have your mics? Okay. Good. Okay. So our session is on emotional wellness support for neurodivergent individuals. So basically, how are they supposed to be supported in terms of their emotional well-being? And something that I said to them when I was speaking, and based off my experience as a mother of a 23-year-old autistic young lady, is that it's really a challenge for people to understand us. Okay? Now, why? Because we haven't told enough of our own stories. If you look other places in the world, so for instance, you have people that are either transgender or whatever, lending their voice to their cause. And so they've made quite a bit of noise, and the society and the world has come to recognize them. They've put policies in place and all whatnots on how they should be treated. And so part of the reason I believe that we have these lovely ladies and gentlemen is to tell us as individuals, as a society, how neurodivergence should be treated emotionally. Sometimes we feel that they are not humans, or people, from lack of understanding about autism, respond to their needs as if they are at the same level with us. Or sometimes they also don't take their own needs seriously. Okay? So what we're going to do, like I said to them, is we're going to focus on the immediate family and places of work, because those are the two environments that they find themselves in, especially within the family. So what I'm going to do is start with Patricia. Okay, so, are you good?
Okay.
All right. So you're going to tell us, and like I said, we're going to keep it very real because this is a real problem. We're not talking about statistics. We have real life individuals in front of us. So when it comes to emotional well-being, can you talk a little bit about what it means to you and what you think, what does your emotional well-being look like? What's that like to you and for you?
Hi everyone, my name is Patricia. So emotional well-being for me would be prioritizing my life in such a way that I avoid burnout. So the kind of work I do, I have to talk to a lot of people every day. I have to listen to a lot of people every day. I have to write to a lot of people. At the end of the day, I'm tired. I need like 1 hour before I start to try to go home. I need to just rest. So for me, how I think I got lucky, first of all, was I made sure I was going into a field that I genuinely liked, that I was genuinely interested in, and I had done my research. I know my strengths, and I knew that I was going to shine there, like without trying too hard. So, like I said, I started off saying wellness for me is running away from burnout. Burnout for me is I'm burnt out. I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to hear anybody. I'm just selectively mute. I don't care if fire is burning. Don't call me. Don't stress me. Just leave me alone. So I avoid burnout because when I get to that stage, I can't do my work well. I can't be helpful. I can't be useful. I like being useful. I like being helpful. So to help an autistic person or to advise or guide an autistic child or sibling or friend toward being emotionally well, try and guide them to do what they like. Then we all have our triggers. If you're autistic, bright lights could be a bit too much for you. It could be certain fabric. I don't gym clothes that I don't know the name of the fabric.
Lycra.
Yes, any nylon fabric, anything like tights that are too I can't wear it. You can't pay me to wear it. For some people it is noise. I don't like to hear people talk too much. If you're yapping near me, and even if I'm not engaging, or I must like you enough to stay around you when you're just yapping about something that's relevant to what I'm trying to do at the time. I must really like you, or to even engage in the yapping. So noise for me, I use noise cancellation headphones at work. Like if you want to get my attention at work, you would have to like wave. Or if it's really important, I'll just really turn it low, but I've diffused the noise seriously. Then also, I set boundaries. No matter what I'm capable of, no matter what an autistic person is capable of, because we're not all savants, we're not Rain Man, and we're not all Forrest Gump. Autism presents itself in different ways. So if you happen to be an autistic person that is very excellent at a particular thing, and everybody knows at work that you're really good at this thing, you need to set boundaries. Everybody cannot come and be dumping work on you because you are best in Excel or best in whatever. Take. You will get tired, you get frustrated. At the end of the day, you won't be able to do anything properly. You won't get anything done. So set boundaries, not just about people piling work on you, also about how people interact with you. Don't give me work after a certain time. If you're giving me instructions, let them be clear. So I just try to avoid burnout by creating this life that I have some control as much as possible. I don't put myself in situations as much as possible where I cannot maintain control. I need to be able to predict what is coming, else I will be upset. And when I get upset enough times, it throws me into burnout. So wellness for me is making sure my life is set up so that I do not get burnt out.
Thank you very much. So knowing for sure, having those certainties, and nobody in life really likes, that's why it's called surprise, okay? It's something that happens once in a while. It doesn't happen all the time. So we don't go about life expecting to be surprised on a regular. And so for somebody that's on a spectrum, they don't want to be surprised constantly. If they don't have those boundaries, like she said, and those set rules, what it means for her and anybody else on the spectrum, or most people, is that the person is going to be on the go constantly, which isn't, and they're going to be hyper alert. So that leads me to you, Korede. Your diagnosis has ADHD included, and so I want you to come at it from the family perspective, okay? Because I know we're in Nigeria, we're Africans. How much stability do you have? Let's step back a bit. Do they even, your parents or siblings, do they even understand your diagnosis? Do they understand you enough to be able to give you the support that you require so that your life or things are a bit more stable?
Thank you. Thank you, Ma, for the question. Once again, I'm Oluwakorede, and to answer the question, with ADHD in the picture too, it's been a lot. Typically, when you look at me, it's very hard to tell by just looking at me that I'm on the spectrum and I have ADHD, right? And it even took me a very long time to discover. Frankly, I just discovered last year that I was on I'm on spectrum. Although it's been a while now that I've known that I had ADHD. So with regards to family supports, it's been a long, tough road, if you're being honest. growing up, I I gave that. I mean, I gave that. Um, I gave I what I explained earlier is to give you perspective. So, my family didn't have all the information until even currently now we can't say they have all the information. So growing up, it used to be really tough for me. Um, I was with ADHD too in the picture. I was always the forgetful person. Like uh, there's this thing my dad would tell me that I don't put my mind to what I'm doing. He would even go for that to ask me in Yoruba language that how do I pass in school, right? With the way I walk around at home. So, and my story is pretty much about um, my parents. My parents were work. How do I call it? 9 to 5 and stuff. So that's attentiveness for them to be able to discover that okay, there could be more to me. It wasn't there, and like I said, it's very hard to detect. Very very hard to detect that I'm on spectrum. So generally, I wouldn't say I got support. If you're being frank, I didn't get support. I mean, until recently that they started, having to understand that, okay, I mean, there's truly something, amiss, kind of, right? So, and what actually even led me to this point of discovery where I myself discovered where they have to come to terms with things is the burnouts that I've experienced for a very long time now, for about we're looking at 6 years now. So that's actually displaced me a lot because I mean I kind of uh, moved under the radar for a long time. Yes, I was doing fairly well with exams and stuff. So there wasn't really tangible stuff that they could have seen to. I mean, they could have noticed to discover. So it's basically it's just under the radar, and this is where I am.
Okay. Thank you for that. So something I need to let all of us know. Yeah, go on, clap if you want to for him. Thank you very much. So we may have an audience of people who understand or have people that have either autism, ADHD, or professionals in the room or parents who've experienced this. But we may have people online or those that are going to watch this later when it's uploaded who really do not understand this disability fully. If you look across, there's no sign there that says I'm autistic, which is what Corridor was referring to when it says late diagnosis and people not really knowing. There's no face to autism. There's no sign. There's nothing. And it's harder. I want to sound this caution. It's much more difficult to diagnose or to understand when the person is vocal. So when the person is speaking, just like our panelists are, it becomes a lot more challenging to understand because you're sitting there looking at the person. Maybe you're looking at the lower corridor. You're wondering, like his father said, how do you pass? I wonder how you do this. What's wrong with you? Because it's not obvious to the eyes. And then you also, coupled with if a person is an adult like they are, I mean, you're looking at them wondering, why are you behaving in such an interesting way, an odd way? But that's because we don't have enough understanding. When the person is speaking, it's a lot more difficult to comprehend. Unlike if it's somebody that's my daughter who had no words, she was not vocal, and she went through a lot of intervention to become vocal and get to where she is today, that she's been able to go to university and complete a degree. Okay? So having that at the back of our minds, Oluwabusola, I want you to explain a little bit about how these misconceptions, how the lack of understanding has impacted you, okay, the stigma, the effect of this lack of knowledge, of understanding your boundaries, or when, say, I need a break, and you're communicating your desire to take a break differently, or you're not even using the conventional language, okay, to say, I need a break. This is my time. Leave me. And somebody is still mounting pressure on you to do something.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Oluwabusola. Okay, people always like to keep us in the always like to say,
Put the mic.
hello, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
So, people always like to put us in a box, like, we are this, like that. So, they don't give us the freedom to do things the way we want to. So, that gets to me sometimes. It burns me out. It makes me emotional. Because, like in my own house, I'm free to do anything I want. When I go out there, people always say, can you cross the road? I'm going out myself, so I can cross the road. So, people always try to like, can you do this yourself? Can you do this yourself? So, it makes me it makes me emotional because I'm someone that I'm very free. So when you ask to take me in a particular book and say, don't go this, don't do this, don't do that. It makes me feel as if they're just trying to make me what you want me to be. Free me. Let me be who I want to be. Let me fly in my own way. So a lot of people need to know that we as human beings, fine. You might see me as normal. But who is normal in Nigerian society as a whole? Who is normal? So I tell people, normal is what we make it. Okay, the doubtful driver on the road, that is stopping on the road, in between the road, and trying to pick up a passenger, and necessarily running behind him. Is it normal?
Is it normal?
It's not normal. So, why do we tell people with disability as normal? As normal? When we all know that normal is so don't say I'm abnormal because I'm not abnormal. I am normal.
Exactly.
I can be who I want to be. I can do anything I want to do.
Yeah.
So you don't have to judge me. You don't have to put me in a box. You don't have to. Like my house and my mom says. My mom asked me what I want to do. She said, what do you want to do? Like when I finished my BSc, I said, what do you want to do now? Now that you have not gotten a job. I said, I want to do my master. I said, okay, no problem. She said, okay, where do you want to do your master? I said, I want to do it abroad. I said, okay, no problem, we'll look for the money. And I said to London to do my master. So don't underestimate the child in your house. Don't underestimate the child can be anybody. Everybody has a disability as far as I'm concerned. What I can do, you cannot do. What you can do, I cannot do. So don't change me. Don't try to say, this is what you can do. Let's say in my workplace now, they try to say, okay, let's see what you can do. I'll tell them, I can do this, and I'll do it. So you don't have to take that child and make them feel emotionally drained. I tell people, when we're growing up, we 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 try to we don't get emotional because we don't have social media then. But now in the age of social media, when you do something wrong, people try to converse you, and that's why most people are falling into depression, suicidal. So the society needs to know that we are who we are. We can do anything. We can be who we want to be. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. We are who we are. We can do anything. Don't limit. One of my favorite slangs is "No human is limited" by Eliud Kipchoge. No human. So we shouldn't look at neurodivergence and limit them. Okay, so a little story to lead you into the next question of how can employers, you're going to share how you felt stigmatized or left out. So we look at emotions in terms of just not expressing them, but also reading them and understanding. So you're looking at, if we look at things like getting upset, you're angry, you're happy, and all those things. A couple of weeks ago, before the last event, my daughter, who's 23 years, when she was growing up, a certain day I heard a big cry, and I was like, it was serious, and I ran out. Because her younger sister speaks very fast, they were having a conversation or an argument, something, and she couldn't get a word in. And in order to stop her sister, because she was upset, she just hit the girl. She gave her a big old whack. So that one started crying. And very recently, even in a place of work, her colleague was doing something, was emptying or throwing away a lot of paper and things. And so this colleague went towards her own section where she kept paper that, although it wasn't very useful to anybody, but she uses it on a daily basis to record things. And because she had seen, for her, the stimulus was she had seen somebody throwing away stuff, right? That's okay. But you've now got to my own space and carried my paper, and I'm asking you, what do you want to do? And instead of responding, the person goes, oh, don't worry about it. She asked a couple of times, and she was getting agitated because she was not getting feedback. And they weren't looking at her to see that she was now becoming upset because they weren't answering her question. What do you want to do with the paper? Don't worry about it. What did she do? She just the person was holding on to the paper, and she just punched and kicked her colleague. I got a call. That was her first time being in employment in Nigeria. Usually, and she had been telling me, I think one thing led to the other because they changed her routine in the office, and she came home and told me she was going to quit. That was her response. Obviously, communicating her need was not being understood. So I had to step in, educate her, okay? And so the day of the punch happened, and I got a call from her. She had broken down. She was in tears. And we went through all of that. Now, when you think of your workplace or even society as a whole, okay, what are those steps? Do you feel that you're getting enough attention for when you're happy, when you're not able to really express, do you understand? Express that need. So for you, Patricia, in your place of work, do you think your employers have taken the time out to really understand you well so that when you're upset, when there's a need for you to, behave differently, they are able to provide the support?
Okay. This one here. Okay. So where I work, in fact, I would say, let me not personalize it too much. If as an autistic person or as a neurodivergent person, especially someone who presents as someone who doesn't need too much support, when you get into the workplace, the first thing you need to do is observe. I mean, I know everyone does that, but what you're really looking for is you're looking for one or two powerful allies in the workplace. By powerful allies, I'm talking maybe CEO minus ones, people who report directly to the CEO, people whose opinions matter in the workplace. Now, if you're like myself and you are how will I, you are with ambition, you are almost deluded, you would take this observation very carefully, because it's going to do all the soft work for you till you leave that organization. The right people need to know how you work, how you would prefer to be communicated with. Because if I communicated to someone several times and I've said, okay, I'll prefer that when you're giving me instructions, you give me instructions very directly, you give me instructions in written form. I don't like to, if you're trying to talk to me about your dog or your daughter, if I'm not really interested, or if I'm not laughing at your jokes, I'm not being disrespectful, I just genuinely don't know how to be interested in what you're saying. I really appreciate you're trying to make small talk, but I cannot engage. So, like I said, if the right people or this is not, I don't know how to, I don't know if I can use this word. I don't know how to, I don't know how to kiss ass. It's not my nature. I cannot do it. But I know that there are certain people who will be my mouthpieces, who will be my loudspeakers. When I have issues or when I've communicated to someone, please let this accommodation be made for me. Especially when it's very clear that my work quality is excellent. It's not like there's an issue about my work. And you refuse to listen, not because you're malicious, but simply because the way you've grown up, you cannot absorb, or you refuse to absorb new information or process new information. So if I have the right people in my corner who are my allies, who would speak for me, they would be able to communicate to the people who are their peers, who are probably also my seniors, and be like, okay, this is how you would work and get the most out of Patricia. The important thing is that we get the most out of her, right? Let's use her, let's use her to work. That's what is important, right? So this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do, so that you can just work with her. And also is a lot of it's really a lot of performing, because this is Nigeria. Education about autism hasn't been done. A lot of people still have an idea of what autism should look like. Autism doesn't have a look. And also, I think organizations still have a long way to go in terms of making accommodations for autistic people. And I mean, if somebody resumes, I mean, I know all of us will probably have this story. You resume somewhere, and then you have, maybe in your first week, somebody behaves funny to you. And it's also now, this person behaved funny to me, and they're like, oh, leave that one, Jared. That's how he is, or that's how she is. That's how they talk to everybody. And they've made accommodation excusing that person's behavior that is harmful to other people, by the way. Why can't organizations make small, inexpensive accommodations and awareness about autism? So I would say really, all the hard work is done for you when you have important people who can vouch for you, who can speak for you, who can defend you. That is more important than being aggressive and being seen as a confrontational person, especially as a woman in the workplace. So you really just need that person in your corner who is going to talk for you, and yeah.
Thank you very much. So I'll come to you, Oluwabusola. How do you think that in this climb where we find ourselves, that you personally or any neurodivergent person can be better supported by the society? I know that Patricia has mentioned some, but for you that you have a dual diagnosis, okay, and they look at you and say, can you do this, can you do that? How do you think? What are the things? So let's answer it differently. What should they not do? Okay, rather than what they should do, what should they not do? Just in 1 minute, what should they not do?
What should they not do? They should not stare. They should not, they should just take the hello challenge. But I ask people that they want to talk to me. They don't know what to say. But just take the hello challenge and I'll answer you. You think I'm rude? Well, I'm not rude. So if you just say hello to me, and I'll answer you. Just like you just said, Like I want to go to what you said about the workplace. Like in my own workplace, I have some people that I know that will stand up for me, even when others are speaking bad about me. They say, you know, this kind of people in my department, and I have the CEO on my side too. So when you have those important people with you, they don't bully you. Even if they will bully you, don't think twice. And when you walk into an organization and you're looking this sweet, this amazing, they can't ignore you. They can't ignore you. So you need to, the society itself is already abnormal, as I used to say. So you need to go out there, looking fit. A lot of people with disability always carry the whole world on their head. They are, I said this to people. Yeah, you have a disability in Nigeria. It's your party already. And you're not a woman with a disability. You're already to party. So, you have to go out there and show that you can do what you can do. I know in a lot of society, because I've been to London, I've been to a society. The section is always more inclusive in other societies than Nigeria. But the Nigerian society needs to understand that everybody with disability cannot be the same way. I might talk this way. They don't talk that way. So you need to put in perspective that this is a person. Everybody is unique in their own way. That's the way I put it. Everybody is unique in their own way. So the society needs to know that you don't have to change me. You just have to let me be who I want to be.
Yeah.
So don't say because I'm coming to you, you say you don't come to me. It's rude. It's like they're already judging you before you go there. You don't have to judge a person before you know them. So that's the way I think the society should think.
Thank you very much for that. So with that, the last question comes to you, Olakorede. So how has your journey of self-discovery, self-acceptance impacted your emotional well-being as a neurodivergent individual?
Yes. How my
Happening for our mic.
So how my journey has affected, has impacted my emotional well-being. I would say I typically, people who know me before now, they know I'm this dogged, I'm this get it done kind of person. So on realization and having to come to terms with the reality that I have to live with, I've tried to tone things down on a lot of fronts. I've tried to tone things down on a lot of fronts. I prioritize my well-being more. I do meditation. I think one of the major challenges. Let me personalize this because I don't want to generalize. So one of the major challenge that I've discovered is overstimulation. Overstimulation is a problem. It's a huge problem. And that's one of the things that leads to burnout. And when we're talking about stimulation, we're talking about just it starts from basic interaction. For you not to be stimulated, you just have to be all by yourself, probably doing almost nothing. That's what it means to not be stimulated. So for you, so but you can't do without being stimulated. It's impossible, right? So what I try to do is to limit stimulation as much as possible. In the workplace, I just try to get to do what I'm supposed to do, and then that's all, because I don't even have the battery, I don't have the energy in the first place to take on so much. Yes, I actually take on so much, let's be frank, but I don't want to go beyond what, because I've been there, I've been at the peaks of burnout, and I know what I went through. I mean, I've reached crazy peaks that I wish not to ever experience again in my life. So I try to limit stimulation. I mean, friends, family members, not everybody understands. So some people would take offense. Some people would be like, "Oh, you're not catching up," or stuff like that. But people who are close enough, they tend to understand. They understand better. They are like your social, what did I call it? Inner
Safety net.
circle.
Your safety net.
Yes, exactly. So those are the people that have relied on over time. So I think trying to limit stimulation is extremely important for me. Then working with safety nets, then trying to more like living a conservative life. I mean, I've seen. I mean, with other people that share their experiences online, I've gotten to see that some people they want to live this hermit's life, this closing off the world. So really, that's what would help a long way. But also, I've discovered this for the autistic burnout part. I've discovered that as much as you are super burnt out, and I think there really needs to be, we really need to distinguish between normal occupational burnout and autistic burnout. Autistic burnout is way, 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 way different. But don't let me digress too much. So, one thing I've discovered is you have to keep moving. You have to keep moving. There was a period where I was in peak burnout, and I didn't have the energy to get up in the morning. I didn't have enough energy to wash myself up. Self-care. In when you get to that burnout place, like your self-care just tanks. Like you don't have the most basic strength to do anything. So, in those periods, I just kind of laid back because I felt like I couldn't, I couldn't take on anything. So, but one thing I've realized over time, I mean, with getting to really realize that this was autistic burnout. So one thing I've come to realize is you have to move regardless. Yes, you might not exert yourself so much, but you still have to, even if it's just a walk, even if it's just, just engagement. And we're talking about outdoor engagement, not indoor engagement, because, I tried during those times, so I tried some indoor engagements like exercise and stuff like that, but you really need to go out. You really need to take air in and stuff like that. So those are the things that has really helped me. Safety nets, limiting stimulation, then, going out.
Understanding yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, again, I just want to leave us with two things because our time is up. As people who interact with neurodivergence, I would ask that we understand their limits. Okay. The highest rate of suicide, research has recently shown, is among autistics, or let's say neurodivergence. And the reason is something Korede just spoke to. They don't, when, that limit, you and I who are supposed to be neurotypical know when you're tired and you want to go and rest and you self-regulate. And when they get to the point of, I've had enough, I can't do it anymore, and the environment, be it the home or the office, isn't understanding and being empathetic, and they don't really understand how to pass that information on to us to take action, it can become drastic. So my word would be, let's please educate ourselves. Don't be afraid of what you don't understand. Ask questions, even of every human being, more so when you're working with a neurodivergent person. Okay? Support them, support any being so that they can keep thriving. Thank you very much. I'm not sure we have any questions.
Hello. Thank you very much, our panelists, and of course, Dr. Nwokolo, the moderator of that session. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and of course, our online audience, thank you for your patience. Thank you for enjoying this with us. Thank you for going through this journey with us. Without much ado and with full respect, would like to bring on our special keynote speaker, who is here represent the Honorable Minister of Education, who is here represented by the Deputy Director in the Federal Ministry of Education, Mr. Abel Akihe. Thank you very much for your patience, sir. We really appreciate you. Please put your hands together for the Honorable Commissioner, the Honorable Minister who is here represented. After his session, he would take a look around the booth stand. You will leave us there. After that, then we'll come back for the vote of thanks by Mr. Dari. Thank you very much.
Once again, good afternoon. Whether it's a closing or session I will not take, I don't really know. But in all, we thank God that we are alive. God bless every one of you. The minister would have loved to be here, but because of some exigency and many work in the office, I was delegated to represent him here. And I've been here so far since morning. A lot has happened. And, we are taking part on the education side of it. What I will deliver here is the speech by the Honorable Minister. Every good thing on it will be accorded to the Honorable Minister. If there is any bad on it, or there is nothing that is not pleasing unto you, you shall ascribe it unto me. I am Mr. Abel Akiri Aiswedian. That Akiri is twins. That is Taiwo and Kendi. But that this the Honorable Minister address, he said, addressed by the Honorable Minister of Education, Federal Ministry of Education, Professor Tahi Mama, SANOON, as a special guest of honor at Pure Soul Learning Foundation Intellectual Disability Conference, holding today, 4th to 5th February, 4th to 5th April 2024 at off Willow Point Road, off Amandi Bello Way, Victoria Island, Lagos. In all, once again, we are pleased to be here, guest speaker, and everyone. I'm delighted that this invitation extended to me as a special guest of honor at this Intellectual Disability Conference by Pure Soul Learning Foundation. Let me start by commending the organizer of this conference, Dotun Akande, for her relentless drives of championing the cause of persons with disability to have a voice. The importance of this conference cannot be overemphasized, especially as the theme is on empowering every voice, community and family synergy for special needs support in Nigeria. Nigeria is a nation brimming with diversity, and potentials. Yet, far too often, individuals with special needs, those with disability, learning difficulties, or differences, or other unique requirements find their voice unheard, and their needs unmet. This marginalization not only hinders their individual growth and fulfillment, but also weakens the fabric of our society as a whole. However, there is hope. By fostering a spirit of empathy, like some of our people have discussed it, understanding and inclusion, we can create a society where every voice is valued and empowered. This requires synergic approach where family and community work together to provide the special support needed by individuals with unique needs. Family are the first line of support for individuals with special needs. They provide a foundation of love, acceptance, and understanding. However, family often face significant challenges navigating complex systems, seeking appropriate resources, and advocating for the needs of their loved one. Community can play a crucial role in complementing and amplifying the support provided by family. This can involve raising awareness. We have mentioned that several times. All the speakers have mentioned it. An understanding of special needs through educational programs and community events. Breaking down barriers to inclusion by advocating for accessible infrastructure, inclusive education, and equal opportunity. Providing practical support such as website care, mentorship programs, and skill development opportunity, and celebrating diversity and fostering a sense of belonging for individuals with special needs through socio-cultural inclusion. The intellectual disability community or autism in Nigeria deserve the right to equality education, just like every other person. And as such, everything needed to actualize its need to be put in place. We are not ignorant of some of the challenges of autism learner or intellectual disability face in Nigeria, which include lack of trained teachers, not availability of assistive device for autism learner, and also adjusting the curricula to accommodate the intellectual disability learner in school system. If these challenges of intellectual disability are met, I can say without any doubt that learning will be made easy for autism learner. And having noted these challenges, effort will be made on how to provide solutions to them. And the intellectual disability community is hereby encouraged to keep up the zeal to ensure easy access to education for the younger generation. Permit me to let you know that in the education sector, that is the work the Ministry of Education is doing, some policy has been in place, such as National Policy on Special Needs Education, National Policy on Inclusive Education, and National Policy on Albinism, and the implementation guidelines. All these policies are geared towards improving the education and livelihood of persons with disability in Nigeria. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I wish to reiterate the fact that the Federal Ministry of Education has the primary responsibility to educate and inform the citizen on programs enhance the learning of children, youth, and adults. One of such programs is retooling regular classroom teachers on the method and techniques of handling children with special needs in classroom setting, which is ongoing in the ministry. Empowering every voice is not just a moral imperative, it is an investment in the future of our nation. By harnessing the synergy of family and community, we can create a more inclusive, equitable, and vibrant society where every individual, regardless of their background or ability, has the opportunity to thrive. Together, let us empower every voice and build a stronger, more inclusive Nigeria for all. At this juncture, I wish to call on the participants at this conference to put in their best by participating actively, which they have been doing since we started, and contributing positively to all aspects so as to achieve the objective of the conference. Once again, my deep appreciation goes to the organizer and all the partners that are supporting the organizer of this great event aim at supporting and educating the education of persons with disability and fostering a collaborative approach to learning and development. Finally, I wish you a happy celebration as you continue the program tomorrow. Thank you all for listening. That is the speech from the Honorable Minister. God bless you.
Special keynote address from the Federal Minister of Education. Thank you, sir, and God bless. Just before he leads us to the board stand, I'd like to hand over the microphone immediately to Mr. Oluwadare Daniel, the Chairman, Board of Trustees, Pure Souls Learning Foundation, for his closing remark, after which the Federal Minister will take us round, will lead us round the boat. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And we really thank each and every one of us that are here up to this time. And we do not take your presence for granted. In fact, we appreciate you and we're enthused with your presence. 2015, when we first had our international conference in Nigeria, we were looking for something like this. After the conference, a collaboration of many of us who are stakeholders. But today, we are achieving that on the basis of Pure Souls Learning Foundation and the Patrick Speech and Languages Center, Anthos House, Manna Children's Center, and Lighthouse Optimism. And we know we're going to get more, we're expanding our purview much more than this in our subsequent conferences. If you are part of our first conference, you will know this year's own is a notch higher than where we were then. So you can be encouraged that next year or year after the next, when we're going to have another conference, we're going to be super of the hope. Thank you very much for being with us. Tomorrow, we are still here tomorrow. Today we have covered media, entertainment, fathers, and we have spoken about self-advocating for ourselves. Tomorrow, we're going to be more interactive. But meanwhile, I think our minister is going to take us over to the works that our special persons have really done for us to really appreciate that there is talent, ability in what we call disability. But I can tell you something. Since the fall of man in the Garden of Eden, every one of us has one disability or the other. It's just a matter of degree. Thank you very much for being around. Thank you.
Foundation with Pure Souls Learning Foundation, Pure Souls Learning Foundation. With that, Mrs. Sekonde, the CEO of Patrick Speech and Languages Center, with the Federal Minister of Education, Mr. Dare, and everyone. Please, can we proceed to the booth for your inspection, sir? I can hand over the microphone to you.